change. Can't do it all overnight. It's just not going to happen all at one time. Okay? And so what we talk about is the idea of incremental and iterative transformation. Okay? And so incremental transformation is basically taking this stack of a reference architecture, and we are breaking it up into slices that can go through a transformation journey. So we call those expeditions, okay? So we talk about expeditions moving through base camps. And so the idea, the increment is a fully operational stack all the way from the execution level all the way up to the portfolio level, because the unit of value of a transformation is not trained people. It's not people doing daily stand-ups. It is an organization that is performing at a higher level. Okay, the unit of currency in a transformation is a transformed organization. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, we know we will be done when this unit, this group within the organization is operating with greater agility. Again, we know we can't get there overnight, so that's where we get into the idea of iterative transformation, and that's where base camps come in. So the idea is we take a stack of this reference implementation that we have defined, and we move it to base camp 1. We're going to stabilize it. We know that there's not everybody and everyone necessary is there. We probably can't get to clean, working, tested. We know we have dependencies, right? We know we have all these hurdles to overcome. So we get it through program teams, portfolio teams, higher level of coordination, higher level of planning, but we still do the basics of Scrum and Kanban. Okay, and we stabilize the system in place, base camp 1. Then as we start to lean out release management, we start to introduce technical practices, we start to lay the foundations for starting to speed the system up. We can define a base camp 2, which will say, okay, we're able to put things in market faster. And then if appropriate, we take it and we say, okay, base camp 3, we're going to start breaking dependencies, and we're going to start letting those teams down at the bottom begin to operate with more independence. If we actually achieve it, we can start to think about deprecating some of the work that the program team and the portfolio team has to do. Okay? If we move into base camp 4, we might actually deprecate the middle tier altogether, and we start at the portfolio level, start funding teams and business capabilities across the enterprise. And then we start to think about things like platform strategy versus product strategy, right? And they have separate funding and they move independently of each other. Okay? If we make it to base camp 5, we might deprecate all of this and give independent teams the ability to just kind of go innovate and market, right? Just depends on where you're trying to go, okay? But the notion of expeditions, the increment, is a vertical slice of the organization that we intend to transform. And then a base camp is this intermediate step where we can get to a place of measurable, demonstrable performance improvement, okay, within a very finite period of time. Okay, it can't take 18 months. It has to take 3 to 4 months or else the organization loses interest. It has to be better that fast. Okay? And that's why it's so important to think about it this way. It's not cool to just train people and just hope for them to self-organize and then to wish for the best on the backside. Right? Because we know the constraints within the organization are going to overwhelm the best of intentions. Okay, so structured, disciplined, systematic. Okay, so then what you get is when you're really rolling on a transformation, what you tend to have are lots of expeditions moving through different treks or base camp journeys, okay? And so at any given time, we've got multiple slices of the organization at different levels of organizational performance. What you might find is, this is a question you get asked all the time. What about when I have a hardware team and I have to like interact with a software team, or I've got a waterfall team that has to operate with an agile team, right? Sometimes what we have to do is we have to bring everybody down to the lowest common denominator. Everybody's got to operate base camp 1 until we improve the system enough that we can start to go to higher levels. A base camp 1 agile expedition can work really, really well with the waterfall team if it needs to. Where we get in trouble is when we try to do lean startup with waterfall, right? That's kind of different, right? So how you interleave the expeditions and base camps, different groups will be able to work with each other more effectively, right? And that's how we start to build a transformation roadmap. We can start to begin to sequence, based upon the dependencies and the relationships between different expeditions, which expeditions need to go when, so that we can move the organization systematically towards where we're trying to take it. Okay? Okay? The interesting thing is when you recognize that the work of the transformation is moving expeditions through base camps and breaking dependencies, right? Now you can start to think a little bit more about being more planful and intentional about what it is that you're trying to do on your transformation journey. It's not train and pray.